Savior of Souls, Lightning returns. She came back again. We're going over the 5 reasons why you guys should really be interested in this character. If you're not already, we'll probably sell it to you by the end of this video, but before we get into that, if you guys are playing War of the Visions or Brave Exvius and you're not using the Amazon App Store version of the game, there's no reason not to, especially if you're making in-app purchases, because the App Store and Amazon coins are going to save you up to 20%. We're sponsored by Amazon in the App Store today. You can save up to 20%, especially if you use my special promo code down below. I'll have it linked in the description of every video for you guys, and it's not that hard to swap over. You simply need to go into your menu in your settings for either FFBE or War of the Visions and make sure that your accounts are synced to the account email of your choice. If you're buying anything in app, there's no reason not to save up to 20% on your valuable real world money. So go ahead and check that out. Thank you once again for that sponsorship, and let's get into the content. So let's get right into it. Savior of Souls Lightning, why have I said that she is so good? The character, the unit herself is insane, but reason number 1 here, we're gonna get right into it, is the Super Trust Master reward. Indestructible Light increases chain cap multiplier by 100%. Quick TLDR for you. You guys know how the chain cap works if you've been playing FFB for a while. Normally the chain cap is 4.0. True dual wield increases it by 200% up to 6.0. That's the true cap there, though. You cannot go higher than the 6.0 cap. So you'd be like, why is this good? What do I do with this? Well, you use this on characters who do not have true dual wield. Use this on characters who are true double handing, whether it's true double hand magic, this works on that. True double hand physical attacks with like a big variance weapon, right? Like a two-handed shoot pow pow weapon, like the Black Sparky, or weapons like that, or like Wild Rose Furion bow. Not Wild Rose Furion, the new CG Neovision Furion, that bow. Like those big weapons, this is going to work with that, and that's going to be insane. And you can use this on her, and you can use this on other characters in the future. This is one of the big kind of mistakes that they made out there, and this gets better over time, especially with the better characters who have higher killers for different enemies in their passives. They also have higher true double hand. They also have higher attack percent, so it's easier to cap your true double hand, your attack percent, your killer percent. You throw this bad boy in there, and you're doing some really crazy stuff. And she also is insanely strong with it as well, so it's not like you're just getting something for the future. Lightning herself is going to make incredible use of this. We'll get more on that later there. Her Trust Master reward is the Night Lotus. A lot of people get hung up on this when they see Savior of Souls Lightning and go, that's not really all that good. Why is this character like this? This is kind of weird. And she's supposed to be basically designed for a sword and a shield, and that's why you have this increased cap multiplier thing, because they designed her around using a sword and a shield and kind of being like a tanky bruiser type character. Like, oh, but she's not using 2 hands, she doesn't have true dual wield, what do we do? They designed this new mechanic that we saw with her Super Trust Master reward. She has this as a passive as well to give her that increased chain cap, so that she could kind of act like a true dual wield character while like being tanky and bruisery. But they forgot that you can just use this with a 2-handed weapon and it becomes banana sandwich strong. So keep that in mind there. The TMR here, you guys probably won't use this for the most part unless you really need to make her bulky for something like that. But this also does give you 50% attack and magic single wielding any weapon with or without a shield as well. And this does have a little bit of magic on there. So if you want to make her like a bulky mage, which is going to be her Brave Shift form, she's one of the most flexible characters as well. That's going to be the second point. That is insane. Her card here, really, in my opinion, not the craziest thing. Maybe you'll use this on like her mage form, but not really all that spectacular there. You get attack and magic 50% for the first 2 levels there if you're using a light or heavy shield, and then it's going to increase your attack and magic by 50% when single wielding any weapon with or without a shield as well. And that's going to be the new true double hand. Basically, it's true double hand with or without a shield. Kind of it's true double hand with or without a shield, basically. So wrap that around you, your head's there. So you're either using one weapon or using a weapon with a shield. So you can use like a rod and a shield, and this will activate there as well. So you can make like a bulky mage. That's going to be the second point here, why she's one of the most beloved units, one of the most units you guys are going to get the most use out of, is because she is so flexible. If you go back in the day, if you guys have been playing FFB for a long time, remember like Eileen or like Lauren, where their equipment selection was just out of this world. She is like that on top of that. So she's going to have her Brave Shift form in her normal form here. Equipment selection: swords, great swords, katanas, spears, shoo pow wow weapons, and maces there. But she also has light and heavy shields, as well as hats, helmets, clothing, light armor, heavy armor, robe. She can wear all the armors in the game there, which is going to facilitate her being very, very strong in that regard. And then on top of that, most characters don't get this nowadays, but look at her element resist. 50% fire, 50% ice, 50% thunder, 50% wind resist, and then 50% to all status ailments on top of that. So very, 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 very strong sort of character to have and to hold and to cherish in your hands there. And then if you brave shift her, she also gets to wear in her brave shift form swords, katanas, stabs, rods, spears, and the shoot pow pows, and can still wear any armor selection that you really want her to use there in her brave shift form. So very, 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 very powerful character when it comes to using her in the way that you need to use her. And we like to have flexibility in our characters, and most of the time characters who are flexible kind of get smacked around and they don't really do anything all that well. That is not going to be the case with this character here. So point 2, flexible, super flexible character. So we'll go over this real quickly for you guys here. Her normal form is going to be a damage dealing type character, and then her brave shift form is going to be a mage support character. So she's going to have all the different sort of things there to kind of go with you in your team here. So her first ability here in her normal form is Null All Guard. She does also have this in her brave shift form. Fire, ice, lightning, and wind resistance buff. 90% for 5 turns to the caster, 100% provoke. So you can be a provoke tank with this character if you so desire. And then also gives her physical and magical mitigation against fairy type enemies. So that's going to come into some nice use against those fairy bosses going into the future. She also has ATB charge, 300% attack and magic buff for herself, 150% LB damage buff for herself for 6 turns, and also gives her 30 LB gauge crystal. She has dual cast white magic on top of that. And then she has some more support here with Spark Boost. Gets a little bit of MP back for herself, adds Lightning Imbue to physical attacks for 5 turns to your whole party, and increases lightning physical damage done by your whole party, including herself, by 15% for 5 turns on top of that. She has beat down for break gauge with sword targets. That's okay there. And then we get into her damage dealing skills here in her first form. Fatal Sweep, 36 times mod with ignore, 50% defense, so it's a 72 times mod, and it also gives her a 75% damage mitigation buff. This is absolute Mirror of Equity chaining frame family. She also has Electric Blitz, which is a 70 times multiplier, so a little bit weaker there, but you're using this for the 120% lightning and peril for 5 turns to all enemies. These are her 2 main damage dealing skills in her normal form. This is what you're going to be doing with her. The other stuff we talked about, very simple and easy to use unit 2, right guys? That's what it is. She's going to be very bulky for you. Even if you're using her as a straight up damage dealer, she's going to always have 75% damage mitigation. It lasts 5 turns, and you'll be using it pretty much every turn that you want to be using that, because that's going to be your mainstay source of damage. She has built-in true triple. Excuse me, I almost said true to will. That's not what it is. I almost jumped ahead down to the passives, but she has built-in triple caster with triple gestalt here. So now we have right here Fang's Request. Increases equipment attack and defense by 200% when single wielding any weapon with or without a shield. So just like her card, if you're using like the Black Sparky, right, 2-handed weapon, you get 200% equipment attack, so 200% true double hand attack and 200% true double hand defense. Now the Black Sparky doesn't have any defense on it, but your body piece does, your head piece might, maybe you have like a ring or something on there. So you're gonna get even more defense. So you're gonna have extra defense on a Neo Vision character with good base stats. And then on top of that, you get this, and then on top of that, you have that 75% damage mitigation buff up all the time. She's going to be exceptionally tanky for you there. On top of that, you also have Chain Mastery, which is her STMR as part of her passive. So increases chain cap multiplier 100%. Boom, this is reason number 3. She caps this automatically with her own Super Trust Master reward on her physical attack form. This is insanely strong, right? Because you start off with the 4 times mod cap, and it caps at hard caps at 6. This gives you 5. You put her STMR on, that's 6. So you're using something like the Black Sparky on her. I've talked about that weapon a million times. It's because it's really good. Normally you have 4 times mod cap on any other true double hand, chain or a chain finisher. Then you have the variance on your weapon, right? 1.5 times. So if you use a little bit of math, 1.5 times multiplier times 4 times multiplier, 1.5 times 4, 6 times mod. Now then you have her 4 times base mod, goes up to 5, goes up to 6, 6 times chain cap mod with a 1.5 times multiplier weapon. You are looking at a 9 times effective chain cap right there, that or chaining multiplier. That's insanely strong. That's almost like if you had like a true dual wield character and you gave him like the 9 times chain multiplier cap. It's that good. That's how kind of True to Wield and True Double Hand were like neck and neck now. You have this stuff, it's insane. That's point number 3. That's how strong that is. It's so good. 9 times effective. It's the same thing as if you had a non-variance weapon and a 9 times chain multiplier cap. It's that freaking strong. She also has Demon and Fairy Killer, 50% Demon, 150% Fairy here, 150% LB damage bonus there for you guys with some fill right there. More tankiness, 100% attack turns magic, spirit, HP, MP, resistance to stop and charm. If you have her own STMR or TMR on her, she does have 50% draw attacks on her there. She also gets the 30% increased damage to break gauge enemies who are broken, which is very, very, very powerful. This is the last character I think JP ever gave this to, which is point number 4. This is the last character that gets this break gauge thing. And I know the other characters are like 70%. It's because it's a broken mechanic, and she's got 2 broken mechanics, this increased chain cap mod thing to everybody, plus the break gauge one. So that is insane. She also has guts. And then on top of that, she has 50% physical dodge. And her counter here is also very nice. Some things you just must do, and some things in life you just whatever. Some things you just do in life. Okay, Lightning, which is going to be a counter that gives a 250% defense buff to your whole party and 10 LB gauge crystals. Now, when it comes to magic, remember she does have dual cast white magic. She has access to full life and Dispel, Asuna, Karaga, so nothing super crazy there. You'd have the full life there, but she's not really in your party to be your healer. And then last but not least, in this first form, okay, guys, she has Army of 1, 110 mod limit burst here, 24 hits, costs 60 LB crystals, but then it gives 2 stacks of physical dodge to your whole party. And then on top of that, it increases lightning physical damage and magic damage dealt by 30% for 4 turns to the caster. That is setting up for some huge burst damage, right? You imbue yourself lightning, you have the 120% imperil. You set up right with her other skills, and then you drop the LB. Remember, this costs 60, but she can give herself 30 on demand. The multiplier isn't the highest in the world. She's not Tifa's tier, but she also is going to hit pretty hard here based on being a true double hand character with a 6 times mod cap, which is exceptionally powerful. And then here comes the last one here. Here comes her secondary form. Now, her secondary form shares a lot of things with her normal form. She still has no guard and ATB charge like we talked about before here. And then we have the breaks / mage version in her Brave Shift form here. We have Quake, Defaithka, Deshelga, and Disaster. These are really nice skills to have access to here. Quake, it's going to be a non-elemental skill, so you won't use this all that many times because it's magic damage. You can't imbue it, but it is going to be there at 180 times multiplier. You could find some use for that. Then we have Defaithka and Deshelga here. Bolting Strike frames all 3 of these, and they're going to be an 85% magic break and an 85% spirit break for 5 turns to all enemies respectively there on a 48 times mod Bolting Strike multiplier. That's okay, but then we have the big 1 turn break here. 5 turn cooldown available on turn 1, 85% attack, defense, magic, and spirit break for 5 turns to a single enemy, and 100% disease to that enemy as well. So we see, I think a little bit more commonly than we used to a year ago, bosses actually being able to be inflicted with disease from time to time. In disease, if you don't know what it does because you haven't used it in forever, it's an additional 10% full break, and this does stack with your actual breaks, so it's very strong in that regard. Ruin here is the break damage for rods, whatever there. And then we have Tornado and Surge. Now these are going to be her main damage dealing skills here, and she's going to have triple cast off the go, and it's going to be a 72 times mod wind damage with 120% wind imperil, or an 80 times lightning magic damage with 120% lightning imperil. So she's not the best mage in the world, but that's because she's like in this form. She's going to be like your breaker plus your little bit of damage on top of that. Keep that in mind. Unlike other mages though, she's going to be exceptionally bulky because you can build her with her shield, her TMR. You can build her with her own vision card in this form if you do decide to do that there. You can get her up to higher than for normal 4.0 cap. You can get her up to the traditional 6 times cap like a lot of the true dual wield mages do have that ability. She doesn't have the 6 times mod cap in this form, but remember her STMR and her passive that she does have in this form as well effectively make her a 6 times mod true dual wield cap mage. Instead of using 2 rods though, you can go right on ahead and true double hand a bunch of magic, so you can get up to 4.5k, etc., even higher than that magic if you have the good gear for that. Or you can make her really bulky. You can go ahead and use a big rod and then a shield and make her like really bulky so she doesn't die as a mage. Come into this form, swap in, do your breaks and stuff, do some magic damage, and be good to go there. She also has magic evasion. We all know how magic evasion is not that good of a stat, so yay. She also does have the demon and fairy killer in this form, 150% LB damage in this form. The Valhalla's guidance passive still in this form. The resort lightning returns in this form here. The 30% broken damage to break gauge enemies. I don't know why they kept the increased chance of being targeted in this form, but I guess it's because she can still tank. You can make her a really tanky mage in this form as well. She does access to full life and all that stuff. And the worst part about this form here, but it's okay, you could also use it from time to time. She has the biggest break I think currently in the game. She has a 90% 2-turn spirit break. But the downside about this here is that it's fire, ice, lightning, and wind damage. 50 times mod, ignore 50% spirit, so a very low mod. And it also imbues you with fire, ice, lightning, and wind as well. So it kind of neuters you into the ground, but you could also use this in dark visions. If you want to use her with other mages, you can bring her in there and you can use this to get that 90% spirit break if you so decide to do that. Or if you want to try to one-shot mage trial fights, you can do that as well. 90% spirit break is very, 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 very high and very, 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 very good there. So keep that in mind. Very strong character. All 5 of those points exceptionally powerful. As always, things are gonna get power corrupt eventually, but she's so flexible in her STMR, it's just gonna be good forever. It's just gonna be good forever. Anytime there's a true double hand mage that comes out, or a true double hand physical damage dealer that comes out, you're gonna think about that thing, you're gonna slap that puppy on, and it's gonna be good, especially as we get stronger and stronger units who come in with, 300% true double hand baseline and 300% attack, and they have like 300% 200% killers to a lot of things out there. It's going to be easy to just slot that in, not lose that on your killers or your attack percent or your true double hand percent, and it's going to be amazing out there for you guys. So save your souls lightning if you haven't thought about pulling for her. She's really incredibly powerful, and we shouldn't see like an insane power creep for a hot minute here. I know JP itself is just now starting to do some weird things that I don't really like all that much, but that's for a different video, guys. And until then, guys, make sure you come check out the content. Follow us on Twitch. If you haven't seen the other stuff we've been putting up on the channel, we've been doing some Genshin Impact stuff, been playing on that game a ton, and come and hang out in the Discord. It's a good time there. We're also looking for more people. I think we have 5 slots in our War of the Visions guild there, as we are walking our way through a Challenger, looking up, looking down, having fun out there as well. So until then, guys, have fun out there, and I'll see you in the next one.